to really explain it, right?
It sort of feels a bit Morricone-ish.
I couldn't find a better description than this.
Nothing rude.
I think people like it. I don't know. I think they do. What do they know?
Say ah.
I want to tsunami hip-hop. I want to earthquake it out. I want to hurricane it out and start from scratch.
Oh, that's so messed up and dark.
It doesn't have to be about that. It's just about getting rid of anything negative and finding something positive.
This is it. This is what's gonna happen.
Sort of has got a bit of Morricone in it.
Oh, well, there you go. You lost me there, buddy.
We still don't know what it means.
We've tried.
It's one of those sort of defining moments where it's like, how on earth did I get here?
It was fun. It was fun for everybody out there. Nobody would have ever guessed that, but it happened.
Never say ever.
Maybe that's it for now. I don't want to look big-headed.
That's it. That's my editor reel. An editor reel is a quick hitting sequence of shots from clips an editor has edited. That was mine. I decided to start looking for a new job, so I put it together to showcase my abilities as an editor. I don't think it accomplishes that goal, so I wanted to delete it. I should delete it. It doesn't prove that I can edit, only that I can edit a sizzle reel. That's all reels, really. Most editor reels, or director reels, or producer reels, or actor reels don't display any actual craft other than the craft of putting together a reel. Normal paper resumes are the same thing, not displaying that one is good at working, just that one is good at working on a good resume. Neither display what most needs to be conveyed to any prospective employer, what you're actually like at work, in the moment, working. So, here I am at my current place of employment. I am editing. I primarily use Final Cut Pro to edit, though I started my career on Avid. That is to say, I can use both editing systems. I can also use Adobe Premiere, though I can't say that I enjoy the interface. So here I am at work, editing, using Final Cut Pro, efficiently. I'm well versed in the methods and details. I'm no casual drag and dropper. No, I use keyboard shortcuts to save time. I know basic shortcuts, ones vital to and gain from everyday use. But I know lots of obscure shortcuts too.
Dear Christ, this is awful.
Keyboard shortcuts
are just parlor trick.
I cut, I insert, I overwrite.
I know.
Only concerted effort to
create a cohesive piece of work.
I don't know what else to do.
Maintain it for the program's
duration. I don't read no Dostoevsky. I read video scopes. Looks like this clip isn't broadcast safe. It is now.
I'm at a loss. You're probably wondering the same thing that I am right now. What in God's name am I watching?
He's not required to add as much as he comes.
That's a good question, and I actually don't have a good answer. I have a bad answer, one that's vague, ambiguous, and ultimately condescending, and that usually tends to work for me, so I'm going to go with that one. The whole thing, well, it's kind of based in the space program. Hear me out. When I was 23, I moved to New York to get involved in making movies. I ended up distributing them at a video store, one that dealt with a lot of porn. In fact, it's kind of interesting. The customers would have to write down on little slips of paper what they wanted to rent out because they were too ashamed to say it out loud. So I ended up collecting these things. They're really incredible. Weird, creepy, pretty incredible. And that's not the point, you know. So at the time I was 24, I was still working at this video store, and I get a call, and my mom was dead. It was traumatic. She was the light of my life. She's gone. So I went back to Little Rock for the funeral and everything. And I remember at the wake, I overheard the funeral home guy talking to my father. I overheard him saying that it's therapeutic to write letters to the deceased, just to write things you want to say to them, put the letter in an envelope, and file it away. So that got me thinking. Well, I ended up doing it. quite often, essentially writing love letters to a woman in an advanced state of decay, which sounds terrible. Sounds better to say, I was writing letters to a ghost. Though I can assure you that I never expected a reply. And on the bright side, a death can be a great source for networking opportunities, and that was the case here. See, my mom had known Bill Clinton. My granddad had actually helped to give Bill Clinton a start in politics, and my granddad had been a great guy, apparently. State Supreme Court, State Attorney General, ran for governor against the hardcore racists on a civil rights platform. Not the point. The point is that a bit after the funeral, Bill Clinton met with us, and when I told him I'd been in New York trying to get into film, he told me that when I got back up there, I should call him, and he'd help to put me in contact with people. It was an incredible offer. I mean, this is the guy, my lifelong idol, so I was blown away. So generous. It really helped me to collect myself and to get back up to New York, at which point I called him. And he said, yeah, send your info to my office. So I did. I wrote a letter, probably too long of a letter, and put my resume with it, put it in an envelope, and sent it to his office, and I waited. I got no reply. Well, so I sent another letter, and I waited. I got no reply. I sent another letter. I waited. And no reply. I sent another letter after that, but by that point, I didn't expect a reply. So fast forward 5 years, and I'm about to turn 30, and, well, I'm a complete professional failure. I mean, really, a failure. I'm working a menial video editing job for a cable TV station, Deep Cable. My coworkers openly mock me. I can say some high-minded stuff sometimes, and apparently they think that's an excuse to degrade someone's humanity. Whatever, not the point. The point is that at that point in my life, right as I was turning 30, I was alone. Really, the picture of loneliness and despair. I felt kind of adrift, lost. I didn't know what to do or who to talk to. And that's where the space program comes in. You see, in 1977, NASA launched a probe into deep space, and on the probe was a record made of gold, and on the record were images and sounds of planet Earth, of our people. There's greetings in a bunch of different languages, diagrams, formulas, music, a personal message from then President Jimmy Carter. The idea behind the record was that if aliens encountered it, they would have a representation of us, of who we are as a people, and they'd hopefully want to contact us. It's still out there. It's still hurtling through deep space, but, as of yet, I think it goes without saying that we received no reply. So back to me. So there I was about to turn 30, and I read about this attempt to contact another world. And I was in New York, seemingly so close to something I so deeply want to be involved in, the film industry, but it felt like another world. So I decided to make a record of my images and my sounds that I could send out to be seen by others. And people, the sweet spot between aliens and ghosts. And that hopefully this time, I'd receive a reply. I know, I'm 31 now, so that's a bit old to be doing something like this. And yes, technically, yes. Physically, yes, I'm a 31-year-old man. But emotionally, I'm a child prodigy. And I know it's weird. I know I sound crazy, but I'm not crazy. I'm surprised you've even made it this far. And so that's actually, right now, I suggest you turn it off and contact me. Just know that I did the whole thing and shoot me a line, whether it's a sage advice, a clever insult, gainful employment, a respectable position. Because I'm going to be completely honest. It's not very good. Video's not very good. But I'm not very good either. It's a true story. And like Carl Sagan said about the golden record, whether or not it's found, whether or not whatever finds it understands it, that's irrelevant. Just the hopeful act of sending something like this out there, just that act, that says more about us as a people than we ever could. So this is a message from a small, distant man, a token of my sounds, my science, my images, my music, my thoughts, and my feelings. I'm attempting to survive my time, so I'm gonna live into yours. To receive gainful employment, a respectful position. I'm gonna fast forward to the interview. You don't need to see all this stuff, but just in case you want to turn off right now and go ahead and contact me, which is what I recommend. That's my personal recommendation. Just in case you want to do that, I'm gonna put my contact information at the bottom of the screen. So that's what I recommend.
I'm brainstorming. In brainstorming meetings, I'm a category 5. Even out of the office, I'm affable and get on well with coworkers. Here we are at the office Christmas party.
I sound crazy.
I didn't get too drunk and say things that I regretted the next day. That's self-control. Speaking of which, here I am at the freelancer sexual...
This isn't just a resume.
I'm reaching out to you, trying to reach your world, and escaping this one. But I work in television. Sometimes, while we're setting up the lights for an interview, I sit there and just wonder where my life has gone or is going. It almost came to a head last year when I was editing something for work on my laptop. I was so tired, so beat. Then, all of a sudden, a message popped up. I looked into the screen and I'm just like, no shit, man. I'd all but forgotten about that incident. But then, a week before my 30th birthday, my 360 red ring. I'm not gonna lie to you, prospective employer, prospective girlfriend, or prospective ideological companion. I want to be honest with you. Prospective employer or prospective girlfriend. Here's the deal. I'm desperately trying to say goodbye to who I've been, but I really don't know how. When an attractive woman should be easy. You don't have to say goodbye. I always say, see you later, talk to you later. You can just shrug your shoulders and walk away. No, I guess it's not that easy. I'm stuck with myself, and my opinions and my thoughts. It's like I'm locked into a terrible, awkward conversation at a cocktail party that I just can't get out of. It's going on forever. You know, I'm trying to convey my dissension with body language. I'm trying to politely step away. I keep making eyes with this girl across the room, and I think she's eyeing me back, but I can't get out of this. I can't wiggle free. I want to say goodbye to myself for good, who I've been. But then I died too. Goodbye is a letting go. It's a small killing of time and of place. It's saying this life here will be no more. No way. No how. So I want to say it. Yellow because I'm a coward. Because I'm afraid. I'm in the midst of an emotional recession right now, and I'm rationing valor. I used to be courageous, but I was beaten down by the gloves of fortune and was too slow in getting up. I know now why yellow is the color used to symbolize cowardice. Because it's bright, but without any real underlying substance. It's all bark and no bite. It's a lingering color, one that hangs in the air and goes nowhere, both because it can't and because it's not sure what it wants to do. It is with yellow that I sympathize in the color wheel of life. In my life story, I sometimes wonder if I'm even fit to play the lead, let alone the hero. Narcissus, because that's who this is. I thought I was maybe insightful, but I now have for certain serious doubts, grievous reservations, insurmountable evidence of the contrary. I looked up insight in the dictionary, and it was defined as the capacity to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding of a person or thing. Then I looked up narcissism. It was defined as self-centeredness arising from the failure to distinguish the self from external objects, either in very young babies or as a feature of mental disorder. Insight versus narcissism. The ability to look into the mirror, but to see what in return? Myself? Or a mirror?